As Jon Jones gets ready to make his highly anticipated comeback after 3 long years, he's teamed up with former doubleweight champion Henry Cejudo to prepare for Ciryl Gane. So how did their meeting go? Respectful, constructive, and full of entertainment.
Got a few inches on him.
You still got the longest wingspan, right? Reach.
Yeah, I think.
Watching the light heavyweight go train with Cejudo was an honor. As soon as Jon entered the gym, Triple C started making goat noises since the greatest of all time had just walked into the building. The former doubleweight champion has an elite team full of talented professionals, and Jon wanted to cash in on that. He spent time working with his team and watching past footage of his and Gane's fights to make some improvements. Honestly speaking, it was pretty sick watching two legends get together so well without clashing. The way Jones was taking Cejudo's input, how Henry was telling Jones he's one of the best MMA fighters of all time in his books. It was a really respectful and constructive meeting.
That could also give you feedback too. So Jon Jones is as good as he is, he's still getting better. As good as Jon Jones is, he's still getting better, and that's just scary.
And speaking of training, it seems like Bones had a really good time training with his team since he asked Cejudo whether he could train with the guys again. Triple C told the champion he's always welcome to come train since he offers so much. Henry can be seen geeking over Jones and how he has so much diversity despite being a massive guy. But there's actually something else that makes the former doubleweight champion go nuts over his ability. What might that be, you're probably wondering? Well, Jon Jones is a student of the game who's still getting better. He's 35 years old and well into his professional MMA career with like an odd 27 or 28 fights.
Jon Jones remains the UFC light heavyweight champion.
And I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, but you'd expect the man to be on a decline, right? He's well past his physical and mental peak, and now he's just lingering on until he finally decides to hang up the gloves. But nope, that's not how it is with Jones. Despite being a 35-year-old MMA veteran, he continues to get better. Henry actually said it's scary how he's still getting better to this date. The former doubleweight champion called Jon a true student of the game. Whenever he learns something in camp or in training, he'll be an expert in it the next day he comes back. He's just so gifted when it comes to MMA. It's unbelievable. As good as Jon Jones is, he's still getting better, and that's just scary. Take Anderson Silva.
Anderson. Big right hand. Looking to finish the fight. Chad's in trouble. Anderson Silva.
Or Georges St. Pierre, for example. These two gentlemen were some of the best fighters the UFC has ever seen.
There is a technique there called the go-go plata. George is out of it. Look at BJ's legs just come up again.
Who will get to fight Matt Hughes?
But as they approached the latter stages of their career, it started to go a bit downhill. They were slower, more prone to strikes, and just not the same. But not Jones. He's a true freak of nature as he continues to better himself.
Now he's going for Kimura. It is all over. Jon Jones remains the UFC light heavyweight champion.
But I have a question, and I'm sure you do too. Why in the world is he training with Henry Cejudo? Because he thinks Triple C is an intelligent fighter and a great tactician. I don't mean to take anything away from Henry. After all, he's a doubleweight champion. But it does spark a little curiosity, right? Why an absolute beast would be training with Cejudo? Not only is he a great leader, but he's a brilliant tactician. The angles, details, calculations.
Right here, you see, watch. He just pushed him down, just kicked, biting his lip like, I'm going to finish this dude. Drops Dillashaw, jumps all over him. And I mean, just demolished him, rode the hip. He gets up, right hand to the jaw.
Henry's an expert in all that, and the fact that he is so passionate about MMA makes him the perfect guy to train with. Believe it or not, Jon actually said he's the kind of guy who could be in his corner. See, this is what I mean by respect and constructiveness. Both fighters acknowledge what the other has achieved without letting their pride come in the middle. And I know it might not sound like much, but look at it this way. You have two champions training together, bouncing ideas off each other. There's bound to be some sort of clash or argument, right? But not with these two. They respect each other's space and are just so humble while training. And even though this is just their first meeting, Jones has already expressed a desire to be trained by Cejudo as he gets ready to fight for the heavyweight title. But there's a catch to all this. He might be training with a talented leader like Cejudo, but his former opponent thinks he's getting a much tougher opponent than Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he might be it. From Lance Junior Dos Santos, 7-0 for Ciryl Gane. Wow.
I'm not going to lie, it was pretty sad to hear how Ngannou left the UFC and wouldn't be fighting Jones for the heavyweight title, because it was going to be a really unique matchup. Not your everyday event, you know. You have one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time facing the hardest hitting man on the planet.
Mick Maynard's phone to try to get a matchup with Ngannou. Down goes the Reem. Francis Ngannou has arrived.
What a treat. There was also a lot of word going around about how it would be the toughest fight of John's career. He's never fought someone with as much power as the Predator. Just one mistake, and it's game over. Lights out. Joe Rogan actually felt robbed when he heard the UFC was unable to secure Ngannou for a fight against the former light heavyweight champion, but no point dwelling over it now. He has a new opponent, and his name is Ciryl Gane. And speaking of Ciryl, do you know Daniel Cormier thinks that the Frenchman will be a more difficult opponent for Bones than Ngannou? He might not have the power and all, but he does have a secret weapon. Any idea what that might be? His fluid movement.
Any big shots?
Elbow attacks. A lot of eyes have been hurt tonight. Jumping, switching.
Jones is known for being extremely agile, but how will he fare against a natural heavyweight who's also very light on the feet? He has crazy reach and can easily get out of line of fire to give John a taste of his own medicine. And if that wasn't enough, even the Frenchman thinks he's going to be too much for the 35-year-old. It's cute how Gane was smart enough to acknowledge the Cameroonian giant as the more powerful fighter.
Man, this guy is super strong. Look at this. He has it. He got it. Wow! Francis Ngannou by submission, round one.
But power isn't the only thing you need to beat Jones, or at least that's what Ciryl thinks. He claims to be a much more well-rounded fighter than Ngannou, and the major difference in their fighting styles is the footwork. I'm not sure if you've seen that video when Francis lands an absolutely brutal knockout to fold his opponent. His footwork was just all over the place. But when it comes to the Frenchman, he's much more careful and observant. Instead of trying to dominate, he prefers to manage the situation. And honestly, I think that's pretty much what DC is trying to say as well. Whether that's going to be enough to put away a monster like Jones is a question mark. But Ciryl has another hidden weapon up his sleeve that's going to shock the former champion. He can hurt you even when he's hurt. He could beat the living daylights out of Gane and he still won't back down. He's a dog. He keeps coming at you again and again, and the only way to end the fight is either by going the distance or getting a knockout. But when Jones hurts you, it's an entirely different story. Anyway, I will say this much. I think the fight world would have been much more excited had Francis Ngannou been taking on the GOAT. But I'm not going to count the Frenchman out just like that. It'll be a really good fight, to say the least. Let's see how things play out on March 4th. So that's everything about Cejudo training Jones for the Ciryl fight. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you soon.